The Basic Instructions of Mind Mastery with Chukky Okobi, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. The Basic Instructions of Mind Mastery with Chukky Okobi is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Chukky Okobi.
Aloha, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Basic Instructions Mind Mastery podcast. Now, today's guest is a master transformational coach and a leading expert and trainer in the field of neurolinguistic programming, or NLP. Nikki has traveled all over the world, training thousands of students every year in mastery of their spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical bodies of empowerment. She's helped people overcome phobias, addictions, and more. And she's worked with people that are just starting their business journey all the way up to CEOs and top performers in their industry. My guest today has a gift for inspiring and motivating her audience like very few people that I know, almost as good as me. Her insight and expertise have left crowds in awe at conferences, workshops, corporate events alike. She's a truly captivating speaker, and her delivery keeps everyone's attention. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and pleasure to welcome my friend, my teacher, and my colleague, Nikki Giuliani, to the Basic Instructions podcast. Aloha, Nicole.
Aloha.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate it. It's such an honor to be here with you. I love and adore you. And yeah, we go back. We've done some trainings together. And so, yeah, I'm super excited and just pumped to be here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being here. And just so everybody knows, we go way back. Way back. We're both NLP trainers. Of course, she's pretty much a master trainer, and I've sat in trainings as a student and learned a lot from Nicole. And I imagine you guys are going to learn a lot from her today. So, obviously, anybody watching this knows I'm a big nerd for NLP and have a huge, huge passion for the work that we do using neurolinguistic programming and empowering people. I'm curious about how you started in NLP and how you became a trainer, and just your experience working with people, empowering them in the way that you do.
Yeah, my story goes, how I found this, that people would ask, how did you stumble upon this? As you, I'm sure, have shared as well. Back earlier in my career, I was actually an esthetician. I owned my own business. I had a spa for about 10 years at that point. And what happened is I'm working one-on-one with people and hearing all their problems, and it became very clear that their problems go much further than the skin. They're deeper than the skin. And it really inspired me to go, okay, I think I need to learn something else. There was that fire that got lit. And it's funny because I didn't know what it was. And it took me a while to find it. And what happened is, it's so interesting because from the outside looking in, everyone's like, oh my gosh, look at what you've created. You've got your own thing. You're doing great, your own schedule and freedom. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm feeling this voice, this calling. And I would gratitude myself. I'd be like, oh, I should be just really grateful. And I love gratitude. We know gratitude works. Oh, amazing. Yeah. It does. It absolutely is the key for motivation. However, I was using it as spiritual bypassing. And so I was in the pain of I need to do something different, but I didn't know what. And so I would just gratitude myself to be gratitude for what I had, but really I wasn't listening to my inner voice. And the inner voice was telling me, you're not this environment, you got to grow, and it's not going to support your growth. You've got to move. So I had that desire to find out what it is. And I'm glad I took action on that. And I think that's the big part. A lot of people get stumbled on, I don't know what, and they're looking everywhere. But you do need to take action on the desire to discover what that is. And that really led me down to getting on YouTube, doing some research. And you get on YouTube and it's you start on one thing, you go down the rabbit hole, and then you end up on NLP, Tony Robbins, and all the things. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go learn about this. And I loved it. When I went there, it was just for me. I didn't know anybody. I didn't tell any of my friends. So I was like, and it scared me. And I loved that because it was uncomfortable. And I needed to put myself in an uncomfortable situation, environment, so that I could really grow. And I went through and I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is gold. This is the basis, like you said, basic instruction of how to do life, how to look at life, how to go and manage on your path. It really was just like a foundational step in my journey. And I went all in. And I remember being at one of the trainings, master practitioner. I know you've done that as well. Mm-hmm. And I was there and I had this aha, you've had that aha, like inspiration, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That inspiration comes in, and I had done this release work and I was like, you know what? I want to be a coach, and I want to be a badass coach. I hope it's okay, I swear. And so
absolutely.
I was like, I want to do this. All right, good, because when I get excited, it just comes out.
Go for it. Absolutely.
So I got inspired by that. It was amazing that when that energy comes in and I set the intention, I want to be a coach. And then very quickly within that training, I was presented an opportunity to become a MAPS coach for a real estate company, a transformational coach with them. And it happened. You ever been in alignment and it just happens fast?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about going to the training, a lot, we come from the same school. We learn from the same teachers, NLP and other modalities. And when you talk about that alignment and knowing that there's something more, but not knowing exactly what it is, talk to me about, with all the trainings that you've done, working with Dr. Matt James and Empowerment Inc. for years. And, we're going to go deeper into, what you're doing now. Because, you've got such an incredible background professionally, helping people in so many different ways. Talk to me about, just experiences you've had with other people who, you as a student, you go in there and you're not necessarily know exactly what you're looking for, but as a teacher, you taught thousands of people all over the world. Mm-hmm. And so talk to me about that dynamic that you run into with other students that come to you, and as a coach working with individuals who come to you with that same issue. And one thing I always like to point out to people is, as coaches and as trainers, most people aren't always aware that we're all teachers and we're all students in life. And we learn a lot from the people we help. And so you talk to me more about that aspect of your professional journey through NLP and as a transformational coach and what you're doing now.
Yeah, so many learnings and humbleness and humility, and being a trainer, first of all, being on stage, and now you're in front of these groups of people who are staring at you. And that's another level of learning the information. So many people would ask me, when did you feel like you really learned, NLP, for example? And I was like, after the first time I taught it. It was another level to be up there and to get the feedback from the students and on the breaks to hear what they got from it. It was all feedback that really helped me become a better teacher, to become a better trainer. And I have to remember that I would even set that up when I would get on stage. I would look out at them and say, I'm a student just like you. I'm on this path just like you. I always had a joke. People would come up to me because they're like, wow, you just know this so well. Like, how long did it take you to get to that level? That was like the most famous question. They want to gauge, like, how long do I have to put in to get to where you are? And I said, because they asked, how long did it take? And I said, any day now. Any day now. Because I laugh and I go, I'm still a student. There's still things that I learn, or somebody gets on stage. Dr. Matt would get up there, another trainer, I would hear them say it in a different way. And I went, oh my God, that just went another level for me. Absolutely. And I think that's part of the beauty of it. And so teaching other students, and it was just, traveling and being in front of different groups was fascinating to me, because no group is going to be the same. No group will be the same. You're going to have different group dynamics, and there's the energy of the group. And even that became like a fun game for me, right? Where's the group at as a collective? And just to remember that I was in their seats as well. And I think as a trainer, as someone who's been on stage, and I know you have as well, I remember that as I get up each time, I was in their seats as well. So I really come from the place of meet people where they're at. You want to meet where they're at. And that's with good storytelling or examples and things like that, getting to know them. And then it's almost like a pull energy, not a push, but like a come with me energy. It would be like a beautiful dance when you were teaching. And so that's really what it was like for me. Every time I didn't know what it was going to be like, because like I said, a different group and building that rapport. And then you have students come up on stage and they would be demos for like the phobia. We did a phobia release at the end of every single training. Do you know how freaking cool that was? And like what an honor that people would even raise their hand and felt comfortable and ready, to let it go. And there's times where sometimes I would be like, I get to do this for a living. Like I get to do this. And I will say you sometimes run the risk of taking it for granted. And I would have to remind the team, we would remind ourselves that, again, meeting people where they're at and then what we are sharing, there's some pretty powerful tools to help people truly just kind of live more in alignment, be free. Be free to, and I think that was my big why. I'd get up there and I would teach the same, content, if you will, training after training. But in order to get connected to it, I had to dig into my why. And the why was I knew that those students, when they came in, that was a before photo and who they were going to be just within 4 days, they were going to be completely different. And to be able to witness that transformation and the highs, lows, the stuff coming up, the rabbit, whatever it is, and having them have a breakthrough, it was unbelievable. It was to be able to do that. I don't know if many people will be able to have the opportunity for 4 or 5 years that I did just traveling around. And I just have a ton of gratitude. It was just an incredible experience.
I got to tell you, having been a student in the trainings that you've taught, I've, been an assistant in the trainings that you've taught, I just want to share something that you never know what somebody takes away from what you're imparting in those trainings. So I'm just going to give you some insight into a perspective that I gained from being a student in training with you as the trainer. And, when you talk about that why, your purpose, a lot of people go into these trainings with trainers such as myself, such as you, and they're looking for a purpose. And one thing I've heard a lot, and I imagine you've heard a lot, is people say, I'm just trying to find myself. I'm trying to find myself. Like I'm searching for my path, my purpose, and it kind of, presupposes that they're looking for something outside of themselves. Like Dorothy was looking for the Wizard of Oz.
Right.
So like my purpose is out there somewhere. And one thing, I don't recall if this is exactly how you said it, but the way I interpreted something that I got from a training with you was, if you want to find your purpose outside of you, you got to turn the attention inside of you and really get to know yourself at a deeper level. Understand what's really, the value that you inherently possess. That each one of us, just like every group is different, every person's different. And once we start to connect with the unique energy that we bring to others, the value that we can add to other people's lives, in the teachings, the wisdom, the individual unique experiences we've had in the past, and the wisdom that each and every one of us can impart on the rest of the world, then it starts to come into, everything starts to come into focus, and you start to really connect with what it is you're doing and the value you're bringing in. And even as I'm listening to you talk right now, now I know for certain that it wasn't just you talking that talk on stage. Right now it's clear that you're also living that yourself. And, I just want to express my gratitude for those learnings and everything that you brought as a teacher to, not just to me, but to all of us students that have sat in your trainings. So,
well, I appreciate you. I appreciate that. And you hit it. It's all about knowing, like you said, knowing who you are. A lot of times we are so affected by the external, what I should do, because I'm watching somebody else. I heard somebody say, you can borrow somebody else's confidence. And I thought that was cute. I like that. I said, yeah, you can borrow someone else's confidence that you see out there until you find your own, though. because it's living outside and getting that external validation, will wear off at some point. And so a big part of this is knowing who you are, spending that time, whether it's uncomfortable, sitting with yourself, learning about yourself, like really going in. That's a big part of what we taught in personal growth is here, I can share stories of what other people have done, but they're all meant to inspire for you to dig in deep for yourself.
Right. Now, I got a question because, I want to go deeper into, what you're working on right now. But, before we get into the new stuff, most people that come to NLP trainings and do the type of personal growth and development work that we do, we're talking about adults. I mean, you've worked with CEOs, you've worked with top industry leaders, all the way down to startup founders and people who have dealt with, difficult situations, whether it be divorce, loss of job, loss of career. Talk to me about the adults. When these adults come to you and they seem lost, I just want to get your perspective on what you're seeing in these people. Because one thing for me is, and I talk to clients about this all the time, is sometimes as adults, we make the mistake of believing we're supposed to know. We're supposed to have it figured out. I'm 45 years old. No, I'm supposed to be at this point in my life. And so, talk to me about those kinds of dynamics in dealing with adults specifically before we go deeper into, what's happening now with Nikki.
Yeah, the dealing with adults is obviously I enjoy, and the work that I've done in the past is, again, meeting people where they're at. And what happens when we would end up digging in and doing the deep growth work that we would do, a lot of people they don't know what they don't know. And they don't know that how they are being or how they are reacting could possibly be coming from an old school programming, right? Something that probably happened in their youth years. There's a doctor, forgive me, I forget the doctor's name right now, but there's been many that a lot of our baggage, a lot of our stuff, all comes from those child years. And so then here they are as an adult having that, and they're having those responses. Either they're getting the desired results in life or they're not. And they just don't know that it could be another way. They tend to be hopeful. Some might be a little resistance. And I think that's part of doing the work is to, inform people. And then they ultimately, though, need to make the choice that they go, oh, I think I'm the creator of this reality. And so a lot of times it can depend. The people that I tend to work with, one-to-one clients and group coaching, they've done some personal growth and development work, so they're not brand new to this concept. So I will say it's a little easier for them to be open to go, oh, it's me. I'm at cause. No more pointing the fingers and saying, well, when I have $1 million, then I'll be happy. Even just saying that constantly keeps you at effect of the external. And so working with them one-on-one has been really eye-opening. And again, I love working with people with relationships or career. Those seem to be the two areas that I've really enjoyed. And yeah, that's just kind of where I've been with the adults.
Yeah, it's as an adult, is us being adults, I always do my best to stay curious. There's so much information out there. There's so many different experiences. If you're looking for a purpose or a path, there's an infinite number of purposes and paths in life. Yeah. And it's really just connecting to the idea that, like, as you said, I don't know what I don't know. And so from there, it's about being curious about what do I not know that if I did know would completely change my perspective on my life right now. And really just looking for that missing piece of information, or looking for those basic instructions like Dorothy, I need to know how to click 3 times metaphorically so I can get home or get to what it is that I want. And so when you talk about, feeling lost as an adult, like some people have that feeling of being lost and, need someone such as yourself or someone like, Dr. Matt or myself to get them to open up to more possibilities. And, when that programming starts in childhood, I like to look at it like everybody, I don't care how old you are, everybody's somebody's kid. Everybody's somebody's kid. And so sometimes they may have, that flowing silver locks in their hair, but you're still dealing with somebody's little girl.
Yeah.
And so but that's actually a good thing. It's a good thing, because if I continue to maintain that vivid imagination that I had when I was a kid playing make-believe and wondering about all the possibilities for my future, and remain curious and open, like I'm learning for the first time, like when grandpa taught me how to fish or grandma taught me how to cook. And, that's something that, as a trainer, I've witnessed you really kind of bring people back to, which, brings me to where, today you want to go deeper into the new mission you have. We're talking about, the youth aspect and how it plays into where people find themselves as adults. And, and most of these adults are parents that are coming into these trainings. So, I want to talk more about, what's going on now with Nikki. And, worked with Dr. Matt for a long time, and, worked with adults all over the globe. Talk to me about this new purpose, this new passion of yours, and what's going on with Nikki and empowering the world the way you have been.
Yeah, I have partnered up with a company called Elite Youth and with Coach Stephanie. And she is phenomenal. She's actually come through the trainings as well. So she knows NLP, and she's been using it in kids leadership. She does group coaching programs, one-on-one, where she's teaching them mindset, how to do forgiveness, release, teaching them this, teaching them how to reframe a situation, teaching them how to stand up for themselves if someone comes up and says something mean, because guess what? When somebody is mean to you as a child, that gets programmed and affects you as an adult. And an adult, what happens is we have that buried belief of, oh my God, I'm just not good enough, or see, I'm not worthy. And we all know that one of the jobs of your unconscious mind, right, which is the bulk of how we operate, its job is to make your beliefs a reality. So that heart, that inner child that had that experience that goes, oh no, I feel this, it gets shoved under the rug. And we get it as adults and we don't know what to do with it, which is what I've been working with. I have been working with the adults trying to undo the damage, if you will, or shine some light on how do you let go of that? How you can release that, you can reprogram how to change and shift that so that you have a different experience of reality, and that those filters are not fogging you from taking and stepping into your light. We're all meant, that's your purpose. That's going to diffuse you from stepping into your purpose. So here I meet Stephanie, right, with Elite Youth, and she's doing work with kids. And she goes, you know what, Nikki? She goes, I'm working with these kids. They're making changes. This is awesome. We all know that this is where the root of a lot of the stuff comes from. She says, and I send them home to their parents and they don't know any of this. And I went, I know where you're going with this. She goes, I love working with kids. And I said, I love working with adults. And I love kids too. I said, this would be great. Why don't we marry this up together? Why don't we merge this and create a program that targets the entire family, the family nucleus, right? So we are a personal growth and development company for the family to take them to their next level and elevate. We're teaching mindset, how to handle emotions, how to have difficult conversations, knowing what boundaries are, how to voice them, discovering values, knowing who you really are, teaching not just kids, not just adults, but both of them together. And we want to help the parents to be able to communicate that to the kids and vice versa, for these kids to have the same language. But it's not our language. Remember, we're not telling them here's how to think. We're telling you, here are the tools. Now you discover that, right? So what we're doing is we're having an incredible event that's coming up that we're going to be able to have all the families come there. and be able to have an incredible experience together. And that's really our plan. Our plan is to have a couple of events a year for the whole family unit to come, to learn these tools and techniques, and to be able to have those conversations within the family unit. We want to create that safe space. And in between that, we're doing a ton of challenges. We want to give away a lot of free content. So you'll see, if anybody goes to my website, 5-day free challenge. We got one coming up. We'll probably almost like every month, we'll have some kind of a challenge just so people can get something to take away right here, right now. One of our big ones is how to get your kids to listen. I know so many parents are like, I cannot get my kids to do what it is that I want them to do. Well, we're going to peel that back and we're going to make it super simple. We're going to start with some foundation and really teach communication.
One of the big, that just brought something to mind for me, being the NLP nerd that I am. When we talk about how do I get my kids to listen, it brings to mind one of the 15 presuppositions. The meaning of my communication is the response I'm getting. And so, looking at it from a parental standpoint, a lot of us adults have been through a lot of difficult things in childhood. Our parents didn't understand us, and then as our, journey's gone along, you've had other challenges. And one of the big motivations for parents, in working with adults, like, because I'm strictly adult education. It's like I can hear Hall & Oates playing on repeat in my mind, adult education. That's what I do. And most of these adults, one of the big motivations is, I just want to be better for my kids than my parents were for me. And what you guys putting this together, it's what I call, it's just the word that's just flashing like a neon sign in my mind is genius. It's genius. And so when you think about any of the parents out there listening to this right now who feel that desire to be a better parent to your kids than your parents were to you, or, just seeing your other friends and peers and how they're kind of could be doing better. And you just are not 100% sure. How do I take it to the next level? How do I take my family to the next level? It sounds like what you and Stephanie are doing is exactly what the world needs right now. And the word genius to me it means you're bringing something to the marketplace that people really can't get anywhere else. And, with NLP, it's been an effective approach. You're talking about trainings you've done as a training other practitioners 4 days. So this event you guys have coming up, I imagine it's in a similar format, and seeing the transformations that you helped other people accomplish in their own individual lives and careers. Talk to me about the 4-day event you guys got coming up here soon this summer, and how that's going to help parents to really up their game as a parent and see their kids accomplish things that they could only have imagined as a child themselves.
Yeah, when you're talking about it, I got goosebumps. I mean, it just lights me up because it's like, real quick, just dealing with adults for as many years that I have, again, knowing like that it came from childhood. And then so many people at the trainings be like, do you guys have this for kids? Do you guys have this for kids? And we're like, no. And now here we are taking the two, and I haven't seen anything else out there like this. And if there is, that's awesome. And I'm just so freaking pumped to be able to teach and share and create that safe space for both parents and kids. And you nailed it. Every parent wants to do better than what was done for them and to keep that going. So this is for the parents who are into personal growth and development, who are open to it, who are humble and can be vulnerable with it. Our intention at this 4-day is to create a safe space. And right off the bat, we are going to get into motivation. We're going to get into experience where let's teach people how to give positive feedback. It's called leadership. A lot of our focus is leadership. And people have always asked, how do I inspire others? I want to inspire people. And I said, you know how you inspire someone is you listen to them and then you share and you feed back to them. Here's what I heard you say. And that inspired me, hearing that you know what you want to do. Thank you so much for sharing that. That vulnerability of what that inspired me to be able to look at myself. And I too have some similar things. And hearing you say that made me feel XYZ. Teaching people how to listen and to give that feedback builds connection and community. And that's what we want to do. That's just day one, segment one, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to communication.
Yes.
And understanding that, how do I get my kids to listen? Okay, if you want them to listen, you need to learn how to communicate better. So the best way I see for a parent to do better for their kids is to work on themselves.
You got it.
Is to work on themselves. And so many times a kid, I've heard it all the time too with the coaching and training. I do you do this for kids? I'm like, okay, you're having an issue with your kid? Talk to me. What's going on? And they'll explain, why my kid's not listening. My kid's having issues at school. My kid.
Right.
And so it's like you're pointing at the kid outside of yourself.
Yep.
Forgetting that there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. And not only that, the whole idea, is, Deanne, Giuliani, another NLP trainer that one of our teachers, and she talks about the heart the heart cell in the petri dish.
Yeah.
That most parents don't recognize that you are the most powerful and influential energy in your child's world.
Absolutely.
And so with that said, if you're sitting here not believing in yourself, whether you're saying that, communicating it directly to the child or not, the kid's not stupid.
Yep. They pick up on it.
They're going to pick up on it.
Energetically.
And energetically, they're picking up on it. NLP, what we teach, it's about modeling, and recognize that kid is going out into the world modeling what they see you doing, being, and having in your world. They're just doing what they think it means to be a functioning human being, a functioning adult.
1000%.
And so just to, when we do the NLP trainings, the practitioner trainings, a lot of it's focused on the adult and working on themselves. Being able to bring this into a family context, I see it some big advantages to anyone who's thinking about going to this specific training, the Elite Youth Mastermind, 4-day event coming up here soon. Is number one, as a parent, you need to start working on your communication and working on yourself. Let's heal up whatever mom or dad did or didn't do. Let's heal that up so that you can be the strongest heart cell. You can be the most influential, powerful, and positive energy in your home that you can be. Resting assured that your kid is watching you very, very closely, very carefully, and they're going to be able to pick up on all of that growth and development that you are achieving within yourself. And it's going to carry over into everything they're doing in sports, in their relationships with their friends, in their communication with their teachers.
Correct.
I mean,
this is going to pave the way to who they become as an adult. And you said it. You can't, as a parent, say, well, do as I say, but not as I do. Like, you to me, but I'm just going to stay here. It doesn't work like that. Energy and environment, as we know, Bruce Lipton, affect the cells first and foremost. You want to help your kid be the best version? Well, guess what? Like you just said, it starts with you. And when they see you, you are modeling success. You are modeling that personal growth is important. You're modeling that, hey, I'm learning how to communicate, and oops, I made a mistake, and please forgive me. Like, you're modeling. So we want to teach and show the entire family unit how to do that, because it is a trickle down. And that is the strongest influence that there is in that home.
Yep,
yes, you can have mentors, which is great. Absolutely. We want to provide that and resources, but we want to get to the heart of it. That's really where it is, the heart of it.
Absolutely. And working with families, just to connect all these dots, because I'm learning right now. I'm always learning from you. Why you sneak these teachings in? I appreciate it, but I don't. Stop imparting so much wisdom, man. It's my show.
Stop it over there.
It's my show. So anyway, here's the thing: is when it comes to when you think parents got to start by working on themselves. And one thing that I impart on clients, especially when it comes to wanting to do better for their kids, the way I always put it is, to be enlightened is not enough. You got to do. To be willing is no longer enough. You have to actually apply the wisdom that you are wanting them to apply.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to do it.
Yep.
And what these fabulous NLP trainers, these amazing women are doing with Elite Youth Mastermind, this could bridge that gap for any parent out there who's feeling stuck or lost or not knowing how to really get this kid to elevate in the way that they wish they did, or the vision that they have for their child going into their teenage and adult years. You got to check out this event. So give me the details. Give me the details. How does somebody find more information about this event, and how do they make sure that they are there?
Yes, it is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona. The dates for this first one is July 12th through the 15th. And you can go to eliteyouth.com. You can go to my website as well, coachnikkig.com, and there will be information of how to register, sign up. You'll get all the information to make sure you guys are there. Not only that, it's not just the event. I do want to share too, we have programs available, because we all know a 4-day event is amazing, but what's going to help actually maintain it and help you to continue the growth is the in-between. So we are going to have coaching programs available for parents and kids, and where we come together. So we've got them all set up, and we'll be doing another event. So like I said, a couple events a year where people can just check out our website. We want to be that resource to be available. Anybody can jump in at any time. Again, like I said, that first event where everyone's going to come together. We like doing a live event. Virtual is awesome. We'll probably have some of those at some point, but the live event for the kids, the families, and we want people to connect. We want to create a community of support. It's really, if you're like, oh my God, I don't know, it's a safe space. It's a safe space. If you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, I could use that, I really need some help, then that's it. That's what we want to create for you guys. So July 12th to 15th this year, that's our first one. Check it out, coachnikkig.com, eliteyouth.com, and there's all the information for people.
coachnikkig.com, eliteyouth.com. If you didn't hear that, rewind. coachnikkig.com, eliteyouth.com. If you ever have sat there and thought, man, I just wish I could be better as a parent. I just wish my kid was doing better in school. I just wish my kid had more confidence. Stop wishing and go to coachnikkig.com or eliteyouth.com. July 12th through 15th. Be there, Phoenix, Arizona.
You got it.
Absolutely. This, man, you got me excited. I don't have any kids that I know about. My wife doesn't like when I say that. But I don't have any kids, but I feel compelled to go to this event. And, I highly recommend anybody out there, definitely make sure that you check this out. If you want to see your kids really thrive and own their own path, so that they're not, 50 years old coming to see Nicole at the training talking about, I'm just trying to find my purpose. Help that kid find their purpose now, so that when they get to be your age, they're way further ahead.
Way further ahead. I think there's a responsibility to help those that come after us. There's that quote, and I looked at my mentors. I would always say, we walked on the shoulders of the giants who have led the way. Well, as we get older in our part, we do become those giants, and we got this next generation come in. And I do think there's a responsibility to leave this, imprint and a legacy to help those generations, as best as we can. I mean, they're going to flourish, and I have that belief. So.
Absolutely. Well, just want to thank you for bringing this to everyone's attention, because a lot of us adults need this, not just for ourselves, but especially for the youth, to help them to really evolve, the family unit for the coming generations. And, Stephanie, make sure you tell her I said aloha.
I will.
And everybody, eliteyouth.com, coachnickig.com. Thank you for joining us today on the Basic Instructions Mind Mastery podcast. And I'm just going to keep bringing that wisdom. And I can't get enough. I can't get enough of Coach Nikki. I can't.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate your time and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure, and I appreciate you so much. You're just so lovely.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Right. See you guys in Phoenix.
Yes.
July 12th. All right.
Thank you for listening to the Basic Instructions of Mind Mastery with your host, Chukky Okobi. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.